¿Se ve bien? We can
Perfect.
see. Okay. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Regina and I am part of this amazing interdisciplinary team with Marisa, who comes from the computer science field, Libor, who is in politics and languages field, as well as Gaston, who is an electronic engineer, and myself, an HR specialist. We are very pleased to share with you our work with all of you. Let's start considering HR challenges that an Industry 4.0 faces. We wanted to share with you our discoveries in using sociometric badges to measure communication patterns in team meetings. In order to understand the line of our research, we first have to agree that teams are a relevant unit of analysis. Teams are central for innovation, and efficient communication is essential for team performance. The advent of technology cannot be denied, especially speaking while the COVID pandemic still affects the organizational working environment. So with the use of technology, thinking about 4.0 manufacturing, Internet of Things, data mining, and so on, face-to-face interactions still represents a large and important share of organizational communication. We recognize its richness, complexity, and impact over results. And so we wonder, how can team structure communication patterns be measured and analyzed? Traditionally, HR specialists, sociologists, and psychologists used human observers, questionnaires, or surveys to understand group dynamics for successful management intervention. These methods demand an effort to minimize subjectivity and have a high cost in data processing, for example. So to respond to the need for more automatic tools, researchers leaned on sociometric badges. Currently, these devices are becoming a common research tool for studying social behavior due to the fact they solve the mentioned obstacles of traditional methods. Within the use of this emergent technology, we identify in literature three main verbal communication metrics related to team performance, namely vocalization distribution, turn-taking frequency, and overlapping speech. Vocalization distribution is the proportion of the speaking time. There is enough empirical evidence to support that balanced participation among members is positively correlated with team performance. This means there is a higher team performance when less centralized communication or more sharing of ideas among team members. Turn-taking frequency means every time a participant takes over a conversation. Therefore, every turn-taking divides a speech segment. It is not clear how turn-taking frequency correlates with results. On the one hand, it was found to have a negative link with performance, as it shows interruptions or disagreement. On the other hand, some authors explains turn-taking is linked to frequent exchanges, coordination, and collaboration. So we don't know what it means. Overlapping speech is the time that two or more members are speaking at the same time, even though at the first glance, these metrics correlate negatively with results, because may cause lack of hearing, cutting another member, or conflict or disagreement. We are cautious on this metric. The identification of subgroups, or if the interruptions consisted in brief confirmatory interruptions, like yes, of course, in agreement, makes it hard to measure. Researchers describe how sociometric badges were used in different kinds of teams, like hackathon competitors or made of students. But as far as we know, no tests were done in a real teamwork setting. So in this exploratory research, we analyzed 4 case studies where the unit of analysis is represented by a meeting where the team gathered to solve a real problem. In order to instrument this research, and thanks to the information available on the MIT lab, the approval of a bioethics committee, de Secretaría General de Ciencia y Tecnología y el Departamento de Ingeniería Electrónica y de Computadoras de la Universidad Nacional del Sur, we were allowed to develop locally the badges. A pilot test was conducted in order to evaluate badges utilization, software recording parameters, and data processing. To collect the data, we follow a 6-step procedure in each case. First, the meeting was planned. We studied 4 teams belonging to different organizations, shown in this table. We take advantage of this occasion to thank the 4 organizations that allowed us to collect the data for this research. Each organization planned a meeting in order to solve a current and a real problem. This table summarizes the task for which the members were called, its context, objectives, duration, and some team member features. We installed the base station in the meeting room before the meeting. While each member arrived into the meeting room, we asked for the consent signature. We turn on and help wearing the devices. A researcher who has no eye contact with any participant stay at the meeting room. He was focused on checking the data was being collected properly, the formal time of the beginning and the end of the meeting, and every event associated with the study metrics. For example, if a member went out of the room, used the phone, or a subgroup was set up. So having finished the meeting, each member handed over the badges. And finally, and after the meeting, the performance results questionnaire was sent by email to all attendees. We developed a data analysis algorithm for this special purpose. We wanted to show through this table that we define metrics and indicators based on background empiric literature, shown in the table with blue. This one, and over here. That having collected and processed the data, we develop a set of indicators that serve us to complement the analysis, showing the table with green. It is important to notice that all 4 meetings were seamlessly. First, we analyze each case separately. For space reasons, in this work version, we only include the full description of case number 4. Let's take a quick look at the data. The 8 members meeting was vocally distributed unevenly. We can see member 18 dominated the participation, although there were 3, if not 4 members that stood out. This figure shows turn-taking count, and it has a similar shape that the previous one. The average speech segment was 14-10 seconds. The average overlap duration was 1.36 seconds. Besides vocalization, member 18 also contributed more than other members to overlap count and time. Also, member 18 was the only one that had an outstanding difference in between overlap count and overlap count, meaning overlaps were longer than others. Thanks to the observer records, we identified that overlaps appeared as confirmatory interventions or short interruptions. Yes, of course, in agreement, a name or a reference, for example, or as informal interactions like jokes or laughter. During the meeting, there were occasions where 2 or more members competed to take the turn, and one managed to overcome the other one at the expense of his silence. So later the term changed to whoever wanted to contribute at the first time. We compared each case results indicators with performance results. Well, we invite you to look at the paper for further details. Now we can highlight some results. First, although it has been the most proven, we found team vocalization distribution metrics did not correlate positively with performance results in our 4 case studies. Regarding turn-taking frequency, we didn't find a positive or negative relationship in between speed frequency among members' turns, nor the average speech segment duration with results.
5 minutes remaining.
Sorry?
5 minutes remaining.
Okay. We noticed that where the average speech segment was high, like in cases 2 and 4, the meeting overcame the 100% of vocalization tenure, and the total overlap time was also high. We identified different kinds of overlapping speech, namely informal, disruptive, confirmatory, competitive for a turn, and related to subgroups. We found subgroups might have a functional or dysfunctional moments. They may disappear naturally or upon demand. Considering the researchers' observations and under the light of sociometric badges indicators, we also offer a preliminary characterization of 3 meeting stages. Our study expands the understanding of team structure communication patterns and provides an important contribution to research in the field of sociometric badges, being the first one that analyzed 4 teams in real teamwork settings. We explore technological possibilities of the devices, testing metrics that have been used previously and building some new ones. Based on previous literature, while one might argue that vocalization distribution is a good proxy for team performance, when we explore our 4 cases, we found that the metric should be analyzed as a part of a set of indicators in context. We can identify at least 4 lines for future research using sociometric badges. First, the study of the evolution of the same team along different meetings. Second, it would be interesting to focus on technological possibilities of the devices to identify and characterize more clearly different meeting stages. Third, the collection of data in a wider set of organizations and teams may allow better comparisons within cases and indicators. And fourth, and finally, regarding available technology, there is a great opportunity to incorporate artificial intelligence and data mining techniques to detect new communication patterns and give more precision to metrics. Thank you very much for your attention. That's it.
Thank you, Regina. Now we have 5 minutes for questions. You can use the chat or activate your microphone.
Okay. No questions, nothing in the chat. We give a lot of information, Regina.
Yes. I hope it was clear enough.
Great presentation.
Okay, thank you.
It is a very interesting experience.
Thank you, Gabi.
Okay.
When was the event? When was the event?
When? Just before the pandemic. Just the last meeting was the 18th of March. So the day after the last minute, the last meeting, everything was closed.